My name is Susan Boyle. I'm nearly 48, currently unemployed but still looking. And I'm going to sing for you on Britain's Got Talent today. My name is Susan Boyle.
Okay, Susan, and where are you from?
I am from Blackburn near Bathgate, West Lothian. Childhood living, it's easy to do.
Just minutes ago, tragedy strikes when you thought Susan Boyle had finally overcome everything. The singer who amazed the world with her incredible voice is facing another shocking challenge. From her humble beginnings in a crowded Scottish home, Susan found solace in music, overcoming bullies and self-doubt. Her surprise rise on Britain's Got Talent left even stars like Demi Moore in awe. But now, Susan's life is taking another dramatic turn. What could possibly shake the woman who has already faced so much? Stay tuned as we uncover the details of this latest twist in her story, beyond extreme appearances. Encouraged by her mother, Susan almost missed the chance to audition for Britain's Got Talent because she thought she was too old. Even though she had been watching the show since it began in 2004, it wasn't until after her mother passed away in 2007 that she decided to give it a try in 2008. Before this, Susan spent most of her time caring for her sick mother and rarely performed in public. And there was a very good reason for it that not everyone knew at the time. Even celebrities like Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher showed their support for her on social media.
Just something to be confirmed.
Right.
But they don't know yet.
You don't know yet, but it just wouldn't be the same without you.
Her audition video became a massive hit, becoming one of the most watched videos on YouTube. Although she finished second on the show and faced some initial challenges due to exhaustion, Susan began a new chapter in her life. She joined other contestants on tour and started working on her first album. But this wasn't the most surprising part of her story. It's a clear example of how perseverance can pay off and how it's never too late to chase your dreams. When Susan's first album, By a Woman, came out at 2:30, it was a big moment. But it soon became clear that Susan had been chasing a dream that seemed out of reach. As the youngest of 10 siblings, Susan's life started under tough circumstances. Her mother, Bridget, was 47 years old when she had Susan and was already struggling to take care of so many children. Susan's birth was difficult and she almost didn't survive. She was without oxygen for a short time, which later led to learning difficulties. School wasn't a safe place for Susan either. Both the students and teachers treated her poorly. The other kids were mean, calling her Susie Simple and throwing insults her way, making her dread going to school. The teachers weren't any better. They would often hit her when she couldn't keep up with the lessons. Susan felt like she was always being left behind in a system that only cared about those who learned quickly. "I'm just a little slower at picking things up," she once said in an interview, sharing how isolated she felt as everyone else moved forward without her. But even with all these challenges, Susan's determination only grew stronger.
Hope you like to breathe two around the house. Come and see me in the tour.
When she decided to compete on Britain's Got Talent, it was her quiet way of pushing back against everyone who had underestimated her. Her performance on the show wasn't just about singing, it was about proving that she could stand tall despite those who tried to bring her down. When she released her song, You'll See, on her first album, it was a clear message to her bullies. She had succeeded despite their cruelty. But this wasn't the toughest part of her journey. In 2011, Susan shared more about her difficult childhood, revealing that she also had to deal with epilepsy. Along with her learning challenges, she was correctly diagnosed with epilepsy, but she didn't get the support she needed from her family or teachers. Her story, filled with both struggles and successes, showed just how resilient she was, overcoming every obstacle in her path. Life was tough for Susan, setting the stage for both hard times and small wins. The secret battles of Susan Boyle. Just like some famous musicians such as Sir Elton John, Neil Young, and Lil Wayne, who also live with this condition, Susan found even simple daily tasks to be difficult. The way her condition was handled wasn't the best, leading to frequent seizures at school. These episodes became a target for teasing from her classmates, who would surround her, make fun of her, and laugh whenever she regained consciousness after passing out in class. At home, things weren't much better. Her parents were very protective during her seizures, but often left her to deal with everything else on her own when they felt overwhelmed. When Susan asked for more support, her father often brushed off her concerns, thinking she was just being too sensitive. Her struggles were mistakenly blamed on learning difficulties, which were actually unrelated, leaving her epilepsy largely untreated. Her school life suffered because of her health and the misunderstanding about her learning challenges. As a result, Susan finished school with few academic accomplishments, which made it hard for her to find steady work. She faced many rejections and only held short-term jobs, like a 6-month stint as a trainee cook at West Lothian College. She often bounced from one government training program to another, struggling with instability in both her career and finances. But this wasn't the worst part. Despite all these setbacks, Susan found joy and comfort in music, performing at local events. This was the limit of her musical dreams until a deep personal loss pushed her to chase a goal she once thought was out of reach. Through all the challenges with her family, Susan held on to values of forgiveness and selflessness. She grew up with very little, never indulged in dreams of romance or marriage, and even famously said during her appearance on Britain's Got Talent, "Never been married, never."
And I used to have my bed and a wee chair like that. Oh, I like the Osmonds.
Susan Boyle's humble and straightforward nature influenced many of the key choices she made in her life, especially after her father passed away. As the years went by, all of her siblings moved out of their 4-bedroom council house, leaving only Susan and her elderly mother behind. Her loyal cat Pebbles, who was 10 years old, also stayed with her. Even after becoming famous worldwide as a talented musician and earning a lot of money, Susan decided to continue living in her childhood home, finding comfort in its simple and familiar surroundings. Neighbors remember that after her mother, Bridget Boyle, passed away, Susan shut herself off from the world for a few days, not answering the door or the phone. Susan is a devout Roman Catholic and is very involved in her church. She sings in the choir and spends time visiting the elderly in her community. She once described her life as quiet and uneventful before her big break on a 2010 episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show. In 2012, Susan shared in a BBC interview that she had been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, a year after she had also revealed she had epilepsy. Her sense of humor came out during a 2012 conversation about online dating, where she jokingly talked about her worries over dating disasters. By 2013, she showed her support for the Better Together campaign, which was against Scotland becoming independent from the United Kingdom during the 2014 referendum. Susan spoke about her deep love for Scotland, saying she felt proud to be Scottish but did not consider herself a nationalist. Instead, she saw herself as a Scot who was also part of the United Kingdom. Susan's life was a mix of personal struggles and public moments that tested her strength. Susan's path from health to fame. When it comes to her health, Susan doesn't drink alcohol and manages type 2 diabetes, which she was diagnosed with in June 2013. In 2014, the media took an interest in her personal life, revealing that she had a boyfriend who playfully said he was her first because they were close in age. But this wasn't the biggest surprise. In 2022, Susan had a minor stroke, which she later talked about publicly in June 2023 after appearing on a Britain's Got Talent show. Even with all her success and the changes in her life, Susan's appearances stayed simple. She never splurged on fancy clothes. But what truly stands out is her incredible singing talent, which always leaves audiences in awe. It shows that real talent often matters more than how you look. Her choice to stay in her childhood home highlights her deep connection to her roots and her preference for the familiar, even when faced with global fame and countless opportunities.
Oh no, I've been here a lifetime now. I'm nearly 60, so 60 years nearly.
The judges and audience watched as Susan's journey transformed from painful experiences of bullying to a moment of triumph, where she received a standing ovation before, during, and after her performance. This powerful moment touched the hearts of people all over the world. In just a week, Susan's audition video spread quickly, gathering over 100 million views. Even her earlier performances, like her emotional rendition of Cry Me a River from 1999, became very popular online. But that wasn't the end of her challenges. Despite dealing with illness and exhaustion during the competition, Susan gave a final performance that was so strong it earned her second place, just behind the dance group Diversity. This was a big win in her personal journey. Her performance was so impactful that it even influenced changes in government spending, showing just how powerful her story was. Susan's determination to follow her dreams struck a chord with many, reminding everyone that age should never hold you back. In its first week alone, it sold over 2 million copies worldwide and broke sales records in the UK. It also became the most pre-ordered album on Amazon. But the success didn't stop there. The album went on to become the best-selling album in the world for that year with over 9 million copies sold. This record-breaking achievement was noted by Billboard News, which highlighted that it was the biggest first-week sales for a new female artist since 1991. Following this success, Susan Boyle earned a place in the Guinness World Records for the fastest-selling debut album by a female artist, making her an important figure in music history. Susan made history with her first albums, breaking records for the highest initial sales and becoming the oldest person to reach the top spot in the UK with a debut albums. Her strong voice and inspiring story captured the hearts of people worldwide, especially in America, where her appearance on America's Got Talent was met with great excitement. The days when people underestimated her were long gone. Now, confident in her accomplishments, Susan wasn't shy anymore. She was no longer watching life from the sidelines. Instead, she was fully engaged and taking control of her own story. After the success of her first album, Susan didn't slow down. She released 2 more albums, The Gift in 2010 and Someone to Watch Over Me in 2011. After taking a brief break, she returned with another album, Standing Ovation, The Greatest Songs from the Stage in 2012. 2 years later, she released another creative album, Hope, followed by A Wonderful World in 2016. Susan continued making music until she paused her career due to getting older and facing health challenges. Many thought she had retired, but in 2019, she surprised everyone by releasing 10, a compilation of her greatest hits, once again proving her resilience and leaving a lasting mark on the music industry.
You say, you go, don't you say?
As Susan moved forward, she faced new challenges that could change everything. The strange setbacks of Susan Boyle. But this wasn't the whole story. Despite her many successes, there was also a sense of sadness. Her devoted fans noticed that a difficult diagnosis had taken a toll on her, changing her in significant ways. Though she still had so much to offer, Susan chose to step away from the limelight, opting for a quieter life. Behind her remarkable achievements, there was a hint of sorrow. If you thought her rise to fame was surprising, just wait. There are even more unexpected twists in her musical journey that will change everything you thought you knew. Could these new details make you see Susan Boyle's story in a new light? Let's take a closer look. While she loved her musical success, adjusting to fame was tough. After each performance, she struggled to keep up with a hectic schedule full of interviews, photo shoots, and handling critical, sometimes harsh feedback. Even though she became very popular, Susan didn't win the competition. After the final show, her health took a turn for the worse, and she ended up in the hospital. The non-stop media attention over 5 weeks wore her down, making her weaker and weaker. It later came out that she had suffered a serious emotional crisis. Despite her incredible talent, not getting enough public votes caused her a lot of stress, leading to a breakdown. On the set, she reportedly splashed water on a staff member, expressing her frustration with the show. But that wasn't the worst part. That same evening, her team at her London residence felt they had no choice but to call the police due to her unpredictable behavior. Not long after, she was admitted to a mental health facility. The news about her condition spread quickly, raising concerns that the show's producers might have ignored her mental and physical health in their rush to prepare for the finale. The UK's media regulator Ofcom thought about investigating the show for possibly neglecting the well-being of its participants just for the sake of ratings, but they eventually decided not to. This whole experience made Susan rethink her approach to her music career, and she planned to reduce her workload. But keeping to a lighter schedule wasn't easy, especially with a busy tour ahead. Still, she kept giving her audience amazing performances. This diagnosis was a turning point because it corrected a previous misdiagnosis of brain damage from her childhood. This new understanding of her condition helped explain some of her past struggles and made her journey in the music industry even more remarkable. Susan, who has Asperger's, a type of autism, learned about her condition in a moment that was both sad and a relief. For many years, she thought a minor issue at birth had caused her lasting difficulties. Throughout her school years, Susan felt she was just unlucky, but discovering she had Asperger's helped her finally get the right support. In a discussion with The Guardian, Susan shared her experiences of being mistakenly labeled as having brain damage, a description she found not only incorrect but also hurtful. Despite the challenges, Susan always understood that she was no different from anyone else, albeit with her own unique methods of navigating life. Her decision to publicly share her diagnosis was driven by a hope to foster kindness toward individuals with diverse neurological conditions. Susan believed that with greater understanding, people would respond to her actions with more empathy. Her candid revelation garnered significant support from both admirers and skeptics alike, who praised her for her openness, a quality often rare in the celebrity world. Susan dealt with personal issues while the world watched, shaping her future with both joy and challenges. Susan's battle beyond the stage. But that year wasn't just tough because of her diagnosis. Susan also had to give up chocolate, her favorite treat, after finding out she had type 2 diabetes. This new health challenge came at a difficult time, and balancing it with her autism was hard. Then things got even worse when the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Susan had to take extra steps to stay safe, which meant her music career was put on hold. She couldn't leave her house or meet with people to work on a new album, putting her music on pause for more than 2 years. But this wasn't the worst part. Susan's life wasn't just about public praise and musical achievements. Her home life was tough too. In 2010, she used her earnings to buy a new house, but it wasn't a peaceful place. Local troublemakers threw rocks and flaming papers at her house, trying to break in. Eventually, she decided to move back to her childhood home and gave the new house to her niece. Although it was a sad decision, going back home felt safer. Her sister was always there for her, offering support during these tough times and helping Susan manage both her public and private struggles. Susan had to take a break from her career due to illness, but she made her return in 2015. Around that same time, her sister Bridie, who had always been there for Susan, passed away from cancer at the age of 73. Bridie's death was a heavy blow for Susan, especially since she now had to take care of Bridie's daughter. Bridie had always supported Susan, standing by her side whenever the media criticized her and offering a strong defense as Susan became more well-known. Bridie also played a crucial role during a tough period when Susan had a serious disagreement with their brother Jerry. After Susan became famous, she earned a lot of money, which led to some tension among her siblings who wanted to share in her success. Things got even more complicated when Susan decided to help Jerry by giving him £75,000 to save his struggling business. This decision didn't sit well with her other siblings. Susan explained that Jerry had threatened to harm himself if she didn't help him financially, which led to a public argument. Jerry denied making any such threats, accusing Susan of making it up. In 2016, amidst a chaotic breakdown at Heathrow Airport, a long-standing rift between Susan and her siblings finally began to mend. They reconciled, closing a tumultuous chapter of familial strife. However, Susan's health remained a persistent challenge. In May 2022, she disclosed that she had experienced a minor stroke, an ordeal that significantly hindered her ability to continue her music career. Despite these hurdles, Susan remained determined to persevere in her passion for singing. The moment was filled with profound emotion as Susan took the stage on Britain's Got Talent, performing with the West End cast of Les Miserables. It was not merely a performance, it symbolized her unwavering dedication to her craft amidst significant health challenges. The chosen song, I Dreamed a Dream, resonated deeply with Susan, mirroring her own life's hardships and victories. Her extensive preparations were shared on social media, showcasing the diligent practice sessions that led to her captivating delivery. This performance touched many, highlighting her commitment and proving that personal challenges could not quell her creative spirit. Through her music, Susan continued to inspire, showing that obstacles could be transformed into stepping stones for artistic expression. But this isn't the only thing weighing on Susan's mind. She recently opened up about how not having children is one of her biggest regrets. Despite this, she has been living a quiet life with an American boyfriend whose identity she keeps private. They started out as just casual friends, but over time their relationship has grown stronger. Even so, Susan remains very private about her personal life, with no plans to make her romantic life public or to get married. Her partner is a supportive figure in her life, but he stays out of the public eye. What do you think about Susan's choice to keep her personal life private while expressing regret over not having children? Comment your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more.